The Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, causing many Americans to celebrate because they were just sick of seeing the Chiefs win. And they were also sick of having Travis and Taylor and Patrick and Brittany being shoved down our throats. Now, I actually wanted the Chiefs to lose too, but not because of Patrick and Travis. I wanted them to lose because of their place kicker, Harrison Butker, who made headlines last summer after giving a speech at a college graduation. Among other things, he talked about gender roles, masculinity, accepting your lane and staying in it, and TLM, traditional Latin Mass. But I was taken aback when he referenced another acronym.
The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The first time I saw that, I had to do my best Jim Mora impersonation. Tyranny? Tyranny? Are you telling me that diversity, equity, and inclusion are bad things? That makes as much sense as calling Mother Teresa a gold digger or Mr. Rogers a neighborhood nuisance. As a lifelong Christian, I learn about diversity, equity, and inclusion every time I go to church. The parable of the Good Samaritan, that was a lesson on diversity. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. That is equity. Let the children come to me. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's inclusion. But you don't need a Bible lesson from me. Let's talk about DEI in the NFL. And I get it, not the best example, considering most of its principal owners are white. And for generations, black people weren't allowed to play quarterback because of the bigoted belief that they weren't capable of being successful in that position, even though that was disproved time and time and time, you get it, and time again. So let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion at Harrison Butker's day job when he's not giving college graduation speeches. Give me a D. The NFL is beautiful in its diversity of big players, small players, fast players, slow players, black players, white players, Samoan players, Latino players, old players, and young players. And let's face it, the NFL wouldn't be as fun to watch if there was a team of guys that were 6'5", 380 pounds. No diss to defense or offensive linemen. And even with its numeric uniform font, the NFL is diverse. Because when I was a kid, besides the Chicago Bears, everyone's uniform numbers look like this. Now, they look like this, and this. Variety is indeed the spice of life, even when we're talking about uniform numbers. Give me an E. In 2008, the Detroit Lions lost every single game of the season. Then in 2017, the Cleveland Browns couldn't win a single game. But guess what happened the following year? Both of those teams got to pick first in the NFL draft to make their team better. And then the Super Bowl champions of that year, they picked last. So the first shall be last and the last shall be first. The NFL also has a salary cap. So regardless if a team plays in a larger market like Los Angeles or a smaller media market like Buffalo, everyone gets the same amount of money to spend on their roster. The NFL also has the Rooney Rule, created by the late great owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dan Rooney. And this enables minority coaching candidates, including women, a more fair shot at working in the NFL. And I say more fair because there was a 68-year stretch where there were no black coaches in the NFL. So the National Football League does all of this for competitive balance, parity, and equity. And then finally, give me an I. And I am sending this one out to Harrison Butker. How does Harrison Butker benefit from DEI in the NFL? So Harrison, I have been watching professional football longer than you've been alive. And every few years, there's a contingent of manly men who say, kickers don't belong in the NFL. They don't tackle anyone. They're just a bunch of sissies. And then I respond with, Ever hear of Adam Vinatieri? He's the NFL's all-time leading scorer. And oh, by the way, he's a kicker. So even though kickers don't look and act like traditional football players, I think they should be included in the NFL because their specific skill set makes the game more interesting and fun to watch. And then semantically speaking, if it weren't for kickers and punters, the name football wouldn't make any sense. So hopefully this short video convinced you that DEI isn't tyrannical. But if you still want to say it's a bad thing, let me retort with a quote from the great RUN DMC. Diversity, equity, and inclusion aren't bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.